Who's very happy, hand in the air, Johnny Rutherford waving to everyone already, seems to have taken his driving glove off, and look at this, that is young Tim, yes, Tim Richmond has stopped, he's waving.
Rutherford stopping, apparently, he can't be stopping for Richmond.
He's in fact going to give him a right back, he's waving to him, we're talking about, you know, A.J. Foyt was talking about a taxi service, yeah. There's the most expensive one you could find.
It's a yellow cab. So Tim Richmond, you know, just has a way of getting in the spotlight. He may be the oncoming A.J. Foyt in that way. All the month of May, this rookie at age 24 is always in the picture. He had a fine finish here. We would imagine would be the rookie of the year.
Well, he's finished ninth, and this might be one way of getting into victory so prematurely.
Rutherford seemed to enjoy it just as much, the two of them shaking hands.
And he's lifting the hand of Johnny Rutherford up and pointing, number one is Rutherford. Young Tim, he must be looking forward to that one day.
Well, the crowd got all they could have asked for today. Magnificent racing, no serious injuries, some spectacular sights to see, and a very worthy winner in Johnny Rutherford of Fort Worth, Texas.
Almost 200. It's quite a difference.
Okay, under the yellow, A.J. Foyt looks like he's angry this time again. Bill Fleming's down there. Let's go.
It's the ultimate frustration for A.J. Foyt. Whatever the problem was, A.J. thought that he had it fixed. He tried to get the car out. It would not go in gear, and all of a sudden the engine stalled. He threw his gloves out. I don't even know whether it's possible to get in there close. I'm sure his temperature is pretty close to 212 right now.
I would say Foyt is a bit unhappy.
A.J. Foyt more than a bit unhappy. And here comes the old living anachronism. The crew chief, race driver, team owner, everything else. He's going to work on the car himself. This man, really an anachronism. A throwback to the days of Barney Oldfield and Ralph De Palma, when the fellow would jump out, make the repairs, get back in the race. And the crowd here cheering him on. They love to see it when A.J. gets out and starts working on his own car.
They're loving it, Jim, but, you know, Foyt knows himself, and he's releasing an awful lot of tension right now. If he can get this thing fixed, he will get back into the car and feel very comfortable.
Okay, 25 years at Indy. Could this be his last year? Well, he's never said so, but some year has to be his last year, and when it's over, one thing will be sure. He did it his way.
Bit oily. There's a crosswind that's causing the understeer, the front of the car to wash out a little bit as you come out of turn 2.
A crash. We can't pick it up yet. I can't see who it is. Parts everywhere. Yellow flag out. This could be a very bad. Oh, this is terrible.
Could be the worst crash that we have seen in Indy in years, Jim. I'm afraid the driver
rescue equipment
is in
there as usual. I'm afraid.
It looks like
let's not say it. Let's say it until we are sure. Could be Pat Bedard, the racing writer turned driver, a man in his 40s. Yes, he's in there.
I'm afraid
he's in there in the front of the car. The engine gone.
Front gone.
However, that part is all in one piece.
Well, yes, it is. And these are survival.
Two of the worst crashes we ever saw were Tom Steve and Danny Ungaius. Ungaius particularly, we thought might have been dead.
Yes.
And he's back in the race. Steve is only back at fighting for the lead.
Really?
Let's see, is his head
Jim,
moving?
I don't know, but it's very encouraging to see that survival capsule
and there's no fire.
Very much intact. There is no fire. There hasn't been serious fire here for quite a few years.
Yeah. Well, let's see what we have in slow motion. See if we can see what happened. We just came in on the end of that. Still working on the driver. Tentatively identified as Pat Bedard. Well, you see that smoke. That's not it. Here it is over here.
Yeah.
Into the inner wall.
The inner wall.
Flying.
There. Incredible.
Well, you see it.
Violence. Well, now you know what happens when something goes wrong at 200 miles an hour. You know, sometimes, you know, Jim, you really don't understand the speed.
But the flying parts, again, do dissipate the energy. They, in a sense, give the driver a chance, rather than a solid car that gives all the force to him.
Well, absolutely right. But it's only when you see something like that that the full knowledge of what 200 miles an hour means. Yeah. Incredible. To pull away, is it?
No, it certainly isn't.
Effective anything, yeah.
Notice, by the way, that young Al's car has these sort of discs set into the wheels.
There's a block. It's not a real block. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. The discs, the idea is that they might give top speed, but Trevor Harris, the designer, tells me they do not.
That's blocking now, right?
Yes, and you see that Sneva lost some of his momentum because of it. A very good block. Here comes another one.
Look at this. It's becoming very obvious now.
Yeah. I wonder.
Al Sr. leading. Junior blocking out the opposition in the person of Tom Sneva. I don't know what's going to happen here, but I'll tell you, we're going to have an exciting finish to the Indianapolis 500 of 1983. Something brand new and different every year. Well, what a tremendous talent this young man must have, Jackie, to be able not only to drive 200 miles an hour, but to run interference at the same time. Now Steve is making the big attempt, and he doesn't get it. He doesn't get it.
That takes enormous courage by young Al Unser Jr. to shut the door on a more experienced driver like Tom Sneva. I take my hat off to him, but at the same time, it was a wee bit tough. Remember, he is 5 laps behind the other driver in this race.
I would ask both of you race drivers, what are the ethics of this situation? Should you do this?
Well, Jim, I think it's borderline here. I think the young man is driving very well and very fast. His father may not be driving quite as fast as the young man would like to see him because he's not using all of the road. I think it's a very difficult ethical position and probably unique in racing.
Yeah, what do you think, Sam?
I agree with Jackie, absolutely. It's borderline at this point, Jim. I don't think he can keep doing it.
Although one is in first place and the other is in 10th and is 5 laps down.
Yeah, and a critical situation looming up. Dick Simon in that red-white car. Look,
Sneva making the attempt. I think he's got him, or does he? Boy, made that sudden move and he's done it.
Oh.
He got past young Al.
But Big Al flew by Simon, and
but here comes Sneva again.
Sneva was able to too.
David taking off after Big Al Unser Sr.
You don't think... This is incredible. Well, this is it. This is the lead.
There's the attempt to pass, and Sneva has retaken the lead. He has passed the son and then the father.
Suddenly.
Tom Sneva seeking, perhaps in his heart, a little bit of revenge against the Penske team from which he was fired a couple of years ago, presumably for finishing second too many times. And he's finished second in this race 3 times.
Many, many mixed emotions as she sits on the pit wall there. Oh my God, the terrible crash! I think it's Danny Ungaius. I think it's Ungaius, Jackie.
And the driver's in the car, Jim. He's still in the car. I can see he's sitting upright. In fact, his feet are outside the car. The car is on fire. Luckily, the flame, I think, is going back the way. The car is terribly damaged, Jim. The emergency crews, as ever, on top of the car very quickly, putting the fire out. Danny Ungaius doesn't seem to be moving very much, Jim. It's a very heavy accident. It's up there at turn 3. I think it's turn 3. It looks like it was the entry
going
of
into
turn
3. Yeah.
Going in at very high speed at more than 200 miles an hour, probably 210 miles an hour. This is the sort of accident, Jim, quite frankly, that every racing driver fears when he comes to the old brickyard, as they call it, because there is no forgiveness in that wall. When you hit it, it is such an impact. That car has absolutely shortened its, and they've just taken his helmet off. That's quite a good sign, Jim, because medics don't take helmets off unless there's a good reason to do so in a lot of cases, because they don't want to move a driver's neck or his back.
Yeah, what's those jaws of life, as they are called, the cutters that pry open a race car to enable them to get the man out. So obviously, Ungaius is still trapped in that car. This is the worst we've seen here in a while. And there's a spectator outside the fence. There must have been either fuel or a part of some sort that flew through that wire fence there.
Well,
you can see pieces all over the place.
The car obviously hit very hard, and while it was doing so, it scattered debris in amongst the spectators, even though there's a debris fence here all the way around the 2.5 mile oval here. Some of that, of course, can get through if there are small pieces. The crowd were probably a little too close to that, and they have perhaps been injured, as we saw there. Obviously they have. They're still working very hard there to try and get Danny Gaius out of this. The one great thing about Indianapolis, there's tremendously talented people. The stretcher arrives there with the ambulance. They're bringing that stretcher into...
Kevin Kogan in car number 7, the blue and white, in case you've just joined us. The crowd standing and cheering, all three of them, and indeed every car left on the racetrack. Hundreds of thousands of people now up and ready to watch on their tiptoes as they go green and race for 2 laps. The Indianapolis 500 is now the Indianapolis 5 between Kevin Kogan and Bobby Rahal and Rick Mears.
Oh, and Kevin didn't get the start he might have hoped for.
And Rahal's going by him. Bobby Rahal in car number 3 has the lead once again. You look at Debbie. She knows what's happened. They come out of turn 2. They're going down into turn 2 now, down the back stretch. Rahal trying to stretch the lead over Kogan. Mears trying to get into it.
I think it was a disadvantage for Kevin to be leading because it allowed Rahal to sit back just slightly and time the start. In fact, here comes Rick Mears.
Can't get by him. They're in turn 3. Now they're in turn 4. And they'll come out of turn 4 and onto the front straight. There will be 1 lap to go now when Bobby Rahal comes by the start-finish line. 33-year-old Bobby Rahal of Dublin, Ohio, trying to beat 30-year-old Kevin Kogan. And right now, Debbie Rahal believes it's about to happen. They're into turn 1.
Looks good,
short
doesn't it,
shoot.
Rahal?
He's got it. He's got it if the car holds
Just
up.
ran a lap at 204 miles an hour, so he had something left, and he's showing it right now. And Rick Mears may be going to menace Kevin Kogan for a second as Rahal goes on to win. That's a possibility.
The yellow flag, which appears for a moment to have won the race for Kevin Kogan, instead created an opportunity for Bobby Rahal to win it. An opportunity that Rahal has taken advantage of. There in front of him, on the right, now the left, Dwayne Sweeney holds a checkered flag for the 1986 Indianapolis 500 champion, Bobby Rahal.
Well, one of the there's Debbie. Fantastic. Easily one of the greatest 500s we've ever seen. Two great veterans, both with a great deal at stake here, taking up the battle early in the going. It doesn't surprise me a bit that Mario...
And an accident, the 11 car, that's Kevin Kogan, up on its side in the pit area. A serious accident in the pit area, but look at Kogan. The car cut in half. The car in half, but Kevin Kogan climbs out. This accident occurring up at the head of the pit area. The crews are there, no fire. And once again, a tribute to the safety of these cars. Kevin Kogan climbs out of his broken and split machine. A tremendous impact against the wall coming off of 4. The yellow flag flies. There's debris on the main stretch.
What a star-crossed man at this speedway is Kevin Kogan. We think back, of course, we look now at the end of the pit lane wall, which we believe he may have hit. That's why the car was broken in half, much as Dennis Firestone's was years before. Here he is.
You can see the scrapes on the side of his helmet as the car slid sideways. Kevin Kogan being tended to by the medical experts here. There is the car, the engine disconnected as they watch and protect for fire. That's actually up in the north end of the pits. Now here is the situation. Let's just watch. Coming off of the 4th turn. Kogan taps the outside wall, the inside wall, and then the end of the pit wall. Now there is an attenuated barrier right there at the end of the pit wall. There is also an ABC Sports camera right at the end of that pit wall. The field now very, very slow behind the pace car. Here is that camera at the end of the pit wall. You see Kogan sliding. He comes down. Now watch.
Al Unser Sr. And he is still out on the track, remember, as Guerrero makes the pit stop.
No adjustments for Roberto so far.
The critical thing here for Roberto to get out of the pits before Al Sr. makes it back around on the front straight.
Al Sr. is going down the back stretch. Now he's going into turn 3. You know that's in Roberto's mind. This pit stop is dragging on there.
He killed the engine. Roberto killed the engine.
They stalled it.
This is really going to change the outcome of this race. Roberto's engine, he's got it going. It's off, Jim.
They're going to be very close. They're going to be very close. Here comes Al in the front straight. He's going to pass him, I think. Yes,
can't get it going. It's stalled again. Al Sr. takes the lead in the Indianapolis 500. You've got 18 laps to go. This man has won it 3 times already in his career. He's 47 years old. He didn't have a ride until 2 weeks ago, and now Guerrero has had a taste of Andretti luck.
The crowd is going wild. They have to pull Roberto back if he goes 1 pit stop too far. It's even a lap penalty, if I remember right here. Al now is on the defensive. He must operate totally different. He's not chasing anybody, they're chasing him.
He is the...
And Bobby Unser, also car number 3. So John Cock has made his stop. Now it's their turn. There is Marcia Unser. Wait for Bobby up on the pit counter, as many of the wives are nowadays. It was a time when they simply weren't allowed there. Bobby out again, and Bobby going out he passed a car. What's he doing? Look at that, he's passed about half a dozen cars.
Oh, James, that's
under the yellow, you can't do that.
That is a no-no. He has accelerated probably in the haste of leaving the pit lane. He's certainly overtaken these other cars. I'm not sure why he did that. I know that you're certainly not supposed to do it. The regulations say that under yellow flag conditions you must not pass any other cars, and that certainly has been the case here. He's certainly passed other cars. Right now, of course, they're under the yellow. There you see him in the blue and red car there, blue and yellow car.
But you're supposed to blend into the traffic, right? Let's see if he did that at all.
Yes, you are supposed to leave that pit lane, and if you have to pass a car for other reasons, it's for blending purposes, but certainly he has accelerated all the way down below the double yellow line there and simply overtaken a lot of cars there. I'm sure Bobby must know the regulations. I'm sure he knew what he was doing. Whether his mind was somewhere else, I can't say, obviously, but he shouldn't, in my opinion, have passed these other cars, Jim.
Okay, well, 370 miles have gone by of the scheduled 500 miles for this race. The yellow flag still out at Indianapolis, and that may not be the last we'll hear about that. However, we'll try to straighten things out when we come back. Finished second in the race today, or did he? Mario, I understand there is going to be a protest. Is that right?
Well, there is a protest in process, mainly because we're talking about the usual infraction of the rules. The one particular rule that we dwell on quite a bit during the private and also the public drivers' meetings are passing on the yellows. And this one instance when Bobby and I were exiting the pits, I was right behind him, and there was a row of cars lined up behind the pace car. And obviously, when we reach that point past the pit wall, we are to blend in behind the car that we're alongside. And, I did so. In fact, I went right behind Foyt, and Bobby just kept right on, and I just lost sight. He went about 7 or 8, 9 cars in front of me, and so I called in my chief, and I said he passed just for the record, and so did John Cock.
So there will be a protest filed, and that can't take place officially, as I understand it, until 8 o'clock tomorrow morning when the official standings are posted. But there will be definitely a protest on this move. You were right behind him, and you had Bobby in your sight, so
You know, it's funny, Vince Granatelli is a very practical guy compared to his dad, Andy Granatelli, who was so emotional in these racing situations. Now, you see, I think that was a glance at Mario possibly starting for the pits. Mario on the right of your screen, he's not starting for the pits.
Oh, my goodness, it's happened again.
It has happened.
It has happened again, and you can hear the crowd responding. Lady Luck has reared what is to Mario her ugly head at Indianapolis again.
That shows. Don't count your chickens till they hatch. The bad luck has followed Mario again. This is kind of sad in many ways. Mario is going to feel worse today than he has in probably most of his losses, Jim.
Millions of racing fans prayed only that Mario would get a fair shot, a full run at it. It looked so good for so long, and there now is the leader, and Katie knows it, as Roberto Guerrero tries to turn his bridesmaid status into that of a champion.
Pace car is off the track, but they must await the green flag. Watch the starters platform on the left there. It's still not out. They appear to be in pretty good order in the first 5 or 6 rows at any rate. A little bit ragged towards the back. And look out, a crash before the start of the race. It was Kevin Kogan from the middle of the first row, suddenly taking a hard left turn. Tires flying. How in the world could this have happened?
Absolutely no idea, Jim. That's one of the most extraordinary things I've ever seen. Remember, they were going about 130, 140 miles an hour when that started, but there is just no explanation, and now one of the favorites is totally out of the race.
And Dale Whittington's car is up against the wall. That's one of the 3 Whittington brothers. Number 40 you saw there was Mario Andretti. There is the number 4 car of Kevin Kogan that appeared to start it all.
Roger Mears is out of the race with a damaged right front. Jim, this is absolutely...
Well, we've seen many unexpected things, but never a crash even before the green flag fell for the start of the race. We had a terrible crash just after the start back in 1973. That was when Salt Walther spun, started it, rode up the wire caging. 10 or 11 cars were involved. There you saw Kogan trying to explain things.
To Andretti. Poor Andretti spent the entire month here. Mario has getting ready. There's Kevin Kogan.
And now we have a red flag, Sam. That means the race is officially stopped. Remember, it didn't start, but it is officially stopped. It's not just a yellow situation. Let's look at it again. The middle of the front row, just behind him is John Cock. A little out of order.
Yes, but now Kogan just looks absolutely fine, and he just fears. It's as if he turned the wheel intentionally, Jim.
Just unbelievable. And that was Andretti coming right into him, into the side of his car from the inside of the second row.
Of course, but that's Andretti now backwards.
Yeah.
Look at the height that wheel reached back in the back of the pack, where on the right of your screen, that Roger Mears.
Dale Whittington in the yellow car up against the wall.
That tire bouncing along, that's Andretti's car stopped with its back to you on the right.
Maybe you noticed the yellow flag came out instantly.
Instantly, yeah, the officials can't be faulted in any way. They've handled this beautifully. There it is.
Somebody has a theory that...
Unbelievable, and of course he hit A.J. Foyt really hard, Jim, and it may be Foyt's luck not to have had his car damaged in any way. I've never seen anything happen on a racetrack for which there was no explanation.
Well, now you and Jackie have been saying if there ever have been odds-on favorites in this race, it's the 2 cars of the Penske team. One of those cars is gone, and the race hasn't even started yet. A red flag situation, as you see. There, a look at the pole, which are all those positions are already confused. They'll have to reorder the cars. May have to have some sort of new rule for the start. This one isn't in the rule book, I don't think. No, it's appearing to push him away. He doesn't want to listen, doesn't want to hear. Mario Andretti very, very upset. Now, our reporters are fanning out, trying to get the principals. Bill Fleming is with Mario Andretti right now. Okay. All right, Bill.
One more time, Mario, I couldn't hear what you said.
I said this is what happens when you have children doing a man's job up front. That's what happens.
Somebody cut right across in front of you.
Yeah, Kogan, you know, just, I guess, messed up and he's sideways in front of me. I just had no choice but T-bone.
All right, well, there's A.J. Foyt. He was just talking to Kogan for a moment. Had some choice words for him, no doubt. Now, Chris Economaki moving in on A.J.
AJ, how'd that start? Well, I don't know. He ran right square in my goddamn left front. What are you talking about? Kogan? Kogan. Or AJ Foyt blames it on Kevin Kogan. Back to you, Jim.
Well, AJ blames it on Kevin. We haven't heard from him yet, the man who obviously was the principal figure. There's AJ's car. Chris Economaki now with Kevin Kogan. All right, Chris.
Kevin, tough break at the start. Can you describe what happened?
Well, all I know is we were moving down nicely and just started to accelerate. And the car just moved to the right. There's a tire mark on the right side of my car. I don't know what happened.
What kind of shape is your car?
It's finished.
A.J. Foyt sort of puts the blame on you. Do you feel you might be responsible?
I don't think so. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything out of the ordinary. Just veered to the right. I have to take a look at the film because there's no point in me saying that somebody pushed me or anything like that until I take
You're okay. I'm disappointed, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah. Very.
Kevin Kogan, 26 years old, finished 4th in this race as a rookie last year. Another replay. He's in the middle of the first row. Watch him.
Well, he speaks of wanting to see the film, Jim, to clear this thing up. I don't know what he's going to find out when he looks at it, honestly.
Oh, Mario Andretti just T-boning him on the side. There was nothing at all that Mario could do.
Mario, very lucky not to be injured in that. Did you notice? He almost went underneath Kogan's car, which would have been, of course, terrible if it had scraped up over his head.
Man who may have seen something is Gordon Johncock. He was directly behind Kevin Kogan as they moved towards the start. Let's get a word.
Stalls, it's extremely difficult to refire it again because the fuel going into the combustion chambers is really hot. It doesn't fire up very easily. Oh,
wait, we got a fire there. You can't see it, but it's an alcohol fire. Look at people fleeing in every direction. It's Rick Mears trying to get out of his car. He just came into the pits. This could be very bad. You can't see it, but it's there. See him waving his hand. There's Mears. He's got the flameproof driving suit on. There's a mechanic who's really on fire.
He's on fire. He's probably. Oh, and he's
still not getting that man.
The mechanic's still on fire. You cannot see the flame. It's an alcohol fire.
Look at those tanks right there contain fuel too. This is a very dangerous situation. They seem to be getting it under control now.
Father Mears there. His father there. The mechanic is obviously burned. He knows he's burned. My, Jim, this could have been a tragedy because there's all that fuel there. The equipment is here. The fire extinguishers are here to put it out. They're really playing a lot on it here.
Well, the other mechanic seems okay for the moment.
Well,
don't know about those burns, though, at this point.
Well, you know, nobody recognizes how heavy a burn is until sometimes too late. But Rick Mears was undoubtedly better equipped for it. His wife
There's
is there.
His wife, yeah.
She's worried, obviously. The biggest risk here, of course, is inhalation. That's his father there, looking over him there. Inhalation. And here's Tom Sneva still trying to get out the pits during all of that drama. Now we're back into the Rick Mears pit. The biggest risk there is inhalation of flame or heat or toxics where you can severely burn your lungs. Now, he was lucky. He had his helmet on, Jim. And, of course, that could have helped him. Look at all that stuff.
A terrible moment there, a terrible moment, and obviously he has at least been helped a great deal by that clothing. Chris Economaki.
Comes inside Little Al. A drag race on the backside again. Slower traffic moves to the right. Can Fittipaldi get past? Little Al brings it down low. They touch. Little Al into the wall. Fittipaldi continues on. Little Al slams the wall as Emerson Fittipaldi screams toward the white flag. The yellow flag comes out. Al Unser Jr. taps with Emerson Fittipaldi. They are on the main stretch now, but is Fittipaldi's car fit? Fittipaldi tried it inside the third turn. The white flag is out. 199 laps are complete. The yellow flag flies. Teresa kisses Pat Patrick. Can you imagine the despair that Shelley and Al Unser feel now? Because for the second year in a row, he's okay. Little Al climbs out of his car, walks away from the safety crews. For the second year in a row, the Indianapolis 500 will finish under the yellow flag, but this time it will be a new name. It will be that of two-time world driving champion Emerson Fittipaldi. Former world driving champions winning here. Jimmy Clark, Graham Hill, Mario Andretti, and now the name Fittipaldi will go into the books. What promised to be a close finish ended with a lap and a half to go. Al Unser Jr. stands by the edge of the race course.
What will be his reaction as Emerson comes by? Was he angry? Did he gesture? He went out to signal him.
Little Al stepped out toward the edge of the track. Now the pace car will lead Emerson Fittipaldi, just like it did last year for Rick Mears, toward the checkered flag. The 73rd Indianapolis 500 is rolling to an end, and Emerson Fittipaldi, under the yellow flag, has captured his first 500-mile race victory at Indianapolis. Emerson Fittipaldi wins the great race. And boy, are they happy. No surprise whatsoever. now climbs into the ambulance, but it was obvious he was not hurt in the crash, despite a very hard impact with the wall. The Patrick Racing Team begins now their celebration. And Emerson Fittipaldi waves to the crowd on the backstretch for the first time as the winner of an Indianapolis 500-mile race.
Look at him. He's really happy, Paul. We didn't get the chance to see exactly what happened. That in-car cam really showed the jolt that little Al got going in the turn.
Here we go, Bobby Unser, on the backstretch as little Al and Emo race closely together. One view of the situation.
It just appears that Emo drifted out, got little Al's left rear with his right front. Little Al couldn't do anything about it. That was very similar to an accident we saw in a stock car race 2 weeks ago.
Sam, we've got a trophy dash to the finish line. If this stays this way, there's never been anything like it. The closest finish in the history of Indianapolis was in 1937, 2.16 seconds. There's Dina Mears. Her man is the man that's closing on the leader.
Yep. Look at Mears pour it on, Jim. I know when you're this close, I mean, you can reach out, you can feel that guy ahead of you. And look at Mears now. Here's John Cox taking a fairly moderate line, and Mears is catching him. Look at his speed off that turn.
I've never seen anything like it. There they go. 2 laps to go. There's time to catch him if he can do it. Rick Mears, his wife. The stopwatch, 0.63 seconds between them.
I don't have to tell you what's going to happen if he catches him. It's going to be, I mean, this is extremely dangerous business right here.
I don't think I've ever seen an open wheel car race with people this close at the finish.
No, and never so fast. I mean, these laps in the high 190s.
Look at this.
Dina there. All right.
He may do it.
Yeah, he may. He's that close. Look at that shallow line.
They're going to get the white flag. There'll be 1 lap to go. As he moves along, tries for John Cox. Is he going to do it? The white flag out. This is the final lap.
Going down into the first turn. What? No. Gordon held him off there going into that first turn.
Over the roar of the engine, you can hear the 400,000 people going course.
All right.
No one has ever seen this before in Indianapolis.
This is the back straight, Jim. There's just 2 turns to go now. Mears behind, and he's again trying to slipstream him.
John Cox did a good job of staying ahead of him in turn 1 when he made that move there.
Good. That
That
was
may be
brilliant.
enough.
That was brilliant.
Not quite over. John Cox still with the lead.
Here it comes
Headed
again.
for the finish line.
Here it
He's
comes
still
again.
closing. That's his wife.
It's too late now. You only got to pray. Look at that.
Here you see them. Mears. Can he make a move at the finish? He's making a move. No. Not quite. John Cox has won the Indianapolis 500. He won it by less than a car length. Less than a car length after 500 miles. The disappointed wife of Rick Mears there. Wow. The jubilation in the pits, the Patrick pits. Gordon Johncock has won it. He held on in the closest finish in the history of the Indianapolis 500. 66 races. Never anything like this. That's Roger Penske's wife, Kathy, consoling Dina Mears. Well,
what could you say to somebody after that?
I guess we did get carried away, Sam, but somebody else might be able to help it. I couldn't.
Yeah,
unbelievable.
Jim, it's the victory of a great racing driver who made a great racing move.
Let's look at that finish again.
All right. Well, here is.
It looks like he's beaten at this point, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Coming out of the last turn.
Yep. There's nothing but frustration there.
Now watch this. Making the move as they come to the finish line. There's Mears moving up, and it was just a little over a car length, about 20 feet. Let's go to Bill Fleming.
So despite Sullivan's speed, he's running an economical race.
And that lead is dwindling by the second. Scoreboard showing it a half a second, but it certainly isn't. It's nothing now. Danny Sullivan going down low. Can he make the move? Sullivan down low. Side by side, Sullivan has the lead. Danny Sullivan, Kentucky. And just at that moment, losing control of the car, doing a magnificent job of not hitting the wall and continuing in the race. It's unbelievable.
The incredible move maybe ever in Indianapolis, and Mario didn't hit him, Jim.
That's even more incredible. Andretti subtly moving to the side like a fighter, taking a punch but letting it slip by him. Sullivan at 200 miles an hour recovering from that spin. You have to go back to Jim Clark in 1964-5, Jim, to get a move like that on this racetrack.
I've never seen anything like it on the Indianapolis racetrack.
Incredible.
Unbelievable, but he's going to come in. Another look at it. We're going to have slow motion here in just a moment.
I'll tell you exactly what I think happened, Jim, even before seeing it. Aerodynamic effects. Watch what happens. I'll bet you that as Sullivan gets in front of Mario, no, I'm dead wrong. It's running over that the white line. The very thing that he was doing that made him so fast, I think, tripped him in this one move. Yeah, Mario's too far back, I think, to have had a rear guard aerodynamic effect. But all right, now, Andretti faced with the moment of his driving life. He can't see where he's going. Fades slightly to the left by a miracle. Sullivan stays wide enough to the right, hits nothing, and we may have seen the most dramatic moment of racing, certainly that we're going to see this year. Incredible.
Well, there's a lot.